Nancy,
their assistant.
you ready? David?
Okay, remember that.
Hold on.
Let's call this meeting to order. Let's start with the flag salute and the invocation by Brett. Start with the flag salute. Join me, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pray with me, please. Father, we want to thank you for the many blessings you bestow on us every day. We sometimes take things for granted, so help us be mindful of your grace. Please be with the many who do not have heat. Keep them warm, help them find blankets, clothing, and whatever else that they may need. The holiday season is here. Keep safe all those who travel. Allow us to understand the true meaning of Thanksgiving and Christmas, because giving as well as receiving is a gracious act of kindness that should be treasured. And thank you for our men and women of the armed forces as they serve to defend this great country of ours. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Thanks, Brett. Be seated, please. Have the roll call, Jan.
Dr. Kincaid?
Here.
Mr. Newsom?
Here.
Mr. Riley?
Here.
Mrs. Troop? Present. Mrs. Zimmershed? Here.
Okay, everyone's here and accounted for. We'll start with presentations of Employee of the Month and the Friends of Education Award. The first one will be the Certified Employee of the Month, Mr. Stoney Parks, who is a PE teacher at West and also one of our long-term coaches.
Thank you. So, congratulations, and you made it here, didn't you? Okay. The staff at West Middle School would like to recognize Coach Stoney Parks as Certified Employee of the Month. Coach Parks sets a good example on and off the court. He is a great leader who inspires staff members as well as students to do their very best. He tries hard at everything he does and is always willing to help any student or staff member. Thank you, Coach Parks, for being a part of the West Middle School team. We appreciate all you do.
Next, we'll have the Support Employee of the Month. That is Brenda Story, the Executive Director of the Finance and the Treasurer for the school board here. Another long-term employee.
Brenda Story.
You're on.
Okay. Brenda Story is a true friend of Wildcat Academy and Teen Pep. She goes above and beyond for the alternative programs. They're the ones that nominated her. She's a friend to all of us. But, for example, Brenda picked out rocking chairs for Teen Pep, paid for them, and used her own vehicle to deliver the chairs to the school. When the refrigerator went out at Teen Pep, I called Brenda. She promptly replaced the old one. She also arranged or purchased a bookshelf so site money could be exclusively spent on books. When toiletries or food items are donated to the schools, Brenda makes sure the alternative programs are not left out. Anytime we have a need, all I have to do is let Brenda know. In fact, I usually don't even have to ask. She just takes care of it. What I appreciate most is that Brenda does not make our programs feel like a second thought. She makes sure we have nice things and are given the respect as the other schools. Brenda has a heart for kids, and our district is very, very fortunate to have her. Congratulations, Ms. Story.
And our last presentation tonight will be the Friends of Education to Kathy Schieber, volunteer at Union Elementary.
Kathy Schieber voluntarily decorates the main bulletin board at Union each month, and we have the best bulletin boards in the best of the district. They look better than anybody else's. You can come and see if you want us to prove it. Kathy utilizes her creativity and artistic abilities to make each design unique and inviting. We are so blessed and thankful for all of the time and effort she spends to create a welcoming and fun display for all who enter Union to enjoy. Thank you again.
And if you three recipients will go outside, you'll get your picture taken, comb your hair, because you're probably going to be in the Park City News before it's over.
And on our website.
be careful. She's gonna
Thank
get hit.
you for all you do.
Thank you all. Next, we're going to have a presentation from West Middle School. Stacy, the principal at West, will introduce the various groups and the clubs that are going to be talking to us.
So we had an anime club when we started school this year, and the kids just kind of took on about wanting to make their own clubs. The first one that we had that was a student came to me and asked if they could start a club was our ASL club. So that is the American Sign Language Club. So RJ, if you'll come up here with your mom, if she wants to come with you. And do you want to just talk about why you started? And I'll go through and I'll get all the other clubs to come up with their sponsors. And Ms. Smith, do you want to come up here because you're actually the teacher sponsor? And I really appreciate these teachers volunteering their time and these kids taking the time and really wanting to do these things. I think it's a great thing. Do you want to talk about why you started your club and and I want to know how many members you've had so far?
He's gonna sign for his mom, so I'll hold his mic.
Well, we started this club because I learned about the deaf culture and wanted to share it. And so the first time, I'm pretty sure we had 24 people, and then it keeps getting higher. And yeah.
What are your responsibilities?
Well, I make sure the class is calm. I teach them. We're learning a new song. We're learning sentences. It's an example. Learning sign language is patient because it's English has Spanish, Japanese. It's same with sign language. It has Pidgin, American, and stuff like that.
RJ does a very good job. He takes his role very, very seriously. He comes in an extra advisory. He comes up with his own lesson plans. He creates materials. He prepares them ahead of time. He uses my interactive whiteboard to leave messages for the kids. He has a challenge for them. He is in every corner making sure that everyone is engaged and active and having their questions answered. So he works very, very, very hard to make sure that everyone who's attending is getting something out of it.
Thank you.
How often?
Thank you, RJ. Thank you for the ASL club. Okay, another club that we just started is our Native American club. So Mr. Jackson, he's our teacher sponsor. If you will come up here with Tatiana. You want to come up and both of you girls?
What's our Native American Club?
And they have to come to me and get approval. And they first have to find a teacher sponsor, though, that will.
Now, Miss Cedric, how often do the clubs meet?
Once a week.
Once a week?
And some
Ooh.
some meet 2 times a week.
Awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, I will let Tatiana.
Hello, I am Tatiana Aliahuerta, and I am the ambassador for the Gives Water Service Club family.
Hello, my name is Isabel Hur, and I am one of the instructors for the Native American Club. I am also the ambassador for the organization called the Alfred Little Sang Buffalo Posted 8.
Me and Isabel wanted to start a club that would teach about our Native culture. Therefore, we came up with the Native American Club. We wanted to start this club so we could teach young youth about the drum and our Native culture.
Thank you, Wiblaha, for your listening time and patience. We hope to see you at our next meeting at 3:10 to 4 out west.
Miss McLaughlin is the anime teacher sponsor, and she's going to come up here with Bree, and they're going to talk about what they do in their club.
West, 6th and 7th.
Okay, hi, hello. I have been going to Miss McLaughlin's Anime Club ever since I was a little 6th grader, and I've enjoyed it a lot, actually. I feel like it's just a great place for people to get together over a common interest and kind of talk about things, and I feel like it's really inspired some people to be more open with what they enjoy, because I remember when I first joined Anime Club, I was shy, a little awkward, but I feel like it's really helped me meet new people and kind of connect with them, because we all all just kind of little nerds getting together in a classroom after school on Tuesdays.
Bree, what does anime mean?
Anime is the Japanese word for animation, and I researched this too much. Anime has been around for a while. The first one was called Astro Boy. It was in 1960, I think. But it's got a lot more popular recently, to the point where there are conventions and meetings and clubs in school, and there's a lot more people that know about it. And for me, it's inspired me to learn a new language, Japanese. I've been studying the language for about 2 years now, and it's not easy.
Good job.
Okay, the next club that I would like to come up is the Wildcat Earth Club. If you girls and Ms. Bajorquez would like to come up here and just tell us a little bit about why you wanted to start this, what are your hopes, what are you doing within your club? Who wants to speak?
I'm scared.
So Helena and Chloe came to me and needed a sponsor for our Wildcat Earth Club. And Helena's prepared something. They kind of thought of the idea together, and they needed a sponsor, so they came to me. And Helena has something prepared. Can you read it, Helena? Or do you want to?
Yeah. I'm not very good with large crowds.
Great job.
We wanted to help the earth and environment, so we hope that people would see us cleaning and then they'd start helping us do other projects as well. And we hope that doing this, it teaches people to pick up after themselves. And so our newest project that we're doing is helping the butterfly garden by the bus line at West.
Out and get with Mr. Webb, and he's going to show us how to plant a new garden.
So far, we have helped lots of teachers with projects on cleaning goals. The goals are clean auditorium, clean school grounds, more members, new projects from other teachers and staffs at West.
We also talked about possibly taking over recycling. There's no one doing recycling in the school. So 2 projects, and the kids kind of, right now, I've emailed teachers to solicit projects, but right now they're kind of just going around and asking and seeing if there's anything that needs to be done. We just started, so but it's going. Yep. Thank you.
Okay, and I told Ms. Sarah that I would keep it 5 to 7 minutes. We have one more, and we'll
Okay,
go real
great.
quickly. It's our student council. So if the members of the student council would come up. Valerie Huffer is a sponsor of the student council West. She couldn't be here tonight, but the students do have. I think you guys know what you're going to say, right? Okay.
Okay, hi, I'm Allie. I'm the vice president of student council.
Hi, I'm Jackson Hunt. I'm the secretary of student council at West.
Hi, I'm Addison Dietrich, and I'm the representative of student council at West Middle School. Student council meets twice a month, or more as necessary, usually in the mornings or an advisory, our 7th hour. Schedule is coordinating and having a school dance, so we do pretty much a lot of the school planning. And then we schedule and coordinate various services or projects either in the school or in the community, and they will tell you a few examples.
Okay, so if you're wondering why our president's not here, he could not make it because he has a basketball game right now, and that's why Miss Huffer's not here. And so we coordinate and organize Red Ribbon Week, and Addison is going to tell you about Red Ribbon Week.
So on Monday, we did Team Spirit Day, where all of us wore a team shirt like OU or OSU, or our Wildcat shirt.
Go Cats.
On Tuesday, we did Nerd Day, and a whole bunch of kids came with glasses and like put tape on their glasses or suspenders and like pull up their pants all the way up to their neck. On Wednesday, we did Twin Day, and on Twin Day, you can twin with a friend, and a lot of friends just went crazy and dressed up like dragons, but it's fine. On Thursday, we did Decade Day, where everybody dresses up like 80s, 90s, 60s, a whole bunch of stuff like that. And then on Friday, we did Visco Day, and it's just scrunchy galore. You get the point.
Okay, so another activity we do is we coordinate and organize a food drive for the West Middle School Food Pantry. And we monetary donations to buy clothing and shoes for the needy students in school. And Olympic Day, which is like an athletic day for kids to just do fun activities all day. And like there's a concession stand like to get food because it's gonna be a long day. You can buy fish food for the pond in the cafeteria. There's a pond under the stairs with, I think there's one turtle. Yeah, there's one turtle and some fish. And we assist with the upkeep in the pond.
We also try to show school spirit, like other than just Red Ribbon Week. So we do Ugly Sweater Day in December for Christmas activities. And then we do a door decorating contest, which we're going to start doing that soon. And then,
Okay, so the 7th grade student council members serve as tour guides for 5th grade visits. And sometimes the 6th graders will help. They helped last year and help with the 6th grade schedule pickup. And we show them around and show them like what classes they have or like what rooms there are, like where gym is or where the cafeteria is. And show them how to open their lockers, help them with opening their lockers, and showing kids to their classes.
we also, on Teacher Appreciation Week, we do all these like nice things, like we'll give our teachers presents or maybe some flowers just to show them how much work they do for us, that we appreciate that. And then we organize and take charge of the student talent show at the end of the school year, which is really nice because you get to go to tryouts or auditions, and usually you'll just go on one of the last days of school and show off your talent. And then of course there's the teacher one that's not such a talent show. That's what we call it. So
We call it the Teacher No Talent Show.
it's really nice. Thank you.
Well, thank you guys for letting us showcase some of the things that we're doing here at West.
And clubs are a new initiative. Tell me how many clubs you have now.
Well, we have,
Miss Satchery, you have another club that is here that
Oh.
we had planned to speak.
oh, okay, come. I'm so sorry. I didn't see their
We don't want to
leader.
leave anyone out. Come on
That's
up.
right.
I apologize, guys. I was looking for your teacher sponsor. I
Way to take initiative.
Sorry. And as far as how many clubs we probably have 7.
Okay.
And we
good.
started with 1 this year. So, and this is our art club. Yes. I was looking for Miss Morgan, but okay, I'll let you guys talk.
Okay.
Okay.
Why did you start the art club? Why did you guys want to start that?
Art.
Okay.
And so other people can do art.
Okay.
There you go.
What are you doing in your art club right now?
I was gonna say art, but that's.
No.
We're making boxes like with different layers of other stuff, and we do watercolor and paint and draw.
So do students that don't have art as an elective, do you find a lot of them come to the art club?
That's why I wanted to go.
Okay. Is there anything else you guys can tell us about it?
Yeah, it's fun.
How many members do you have?
10.
That's good. Very good.
I don't count. But they're there.
All right. Well, I am so sorry that I didn't see you guys. I was looking for Miss Morgan. I apologize.
On a side note, real quick, I know Miss Sarah's pressed for time. I do want to say though, real quick on our clubs, we have another one that just started last week that the teacher sponsor was just kind of like, oh, the kids didn't come to her. They talked to her at first and got an approval. They had 45 members. It's the bakery club is what it is. They baked cupcakes for an hour. 45 members on the first day. So
We'll have
yeah.
to be their taste
You guys
testers
yes, that's
sometime.
right. Okay.
Cupcakes.
Brett.
Yeah, Brett. Thank you all to all you West Middle Schoolers. I compliment you for being in clubs. Hang in there, keep it going. It'll be a good activity.
And then coming tonight, it's not even a school day for students.
That's right. On a cold night on
They
top of
showed
that.
up. No school, cold night, high wind.
Thank you all very much.
Yeah. Turnout. Yeah.
It was a good turnout.
Native American Club. Want to share some information about their culture?
Which we need one.
We had to work.
To the teachers.
Okay, considering, the next item is we had no public comments. We will go on to our 3 reports tonight. We'll start with building assessments. Katie Thomason, our new principal at Garfield Elementary, is going to tell us about Garfield.
Presentation up. Okay, yes. It keeps me in line with what's next. That's okay.
We can see it, just not on the screen. Here it is.
Okay, that's
coming up
fine
a
as
little
it's
bit.
loading. Well, I was very blessed this year to be stepping into some very big shoes left by Lori Cox at Garfield Elementary. She laid a wonderful foundation that I've gotten to step into and really work with the teachers. I was instructional coach for the last 2 years, so I was able to dive into their data pretty well and be able to continue that into the years now. The first chart I'm going to show you is our Garfield attendance chart. I am very proud of how hard my teachers have been working, as well as my office staff. We're making sure we're calling those parents and seeing what they need to be able to get their kids there. As you can see, we started in September at a 97% attendance that they were there, and in October we've maintained that at the 97%. We are currently the top elementary school in the district for our attendance.
Top in the district.
Oh, in the district, okay. So we're very proud of that. You can see our 5th grade attendance had went up a little bit. Our 4th grade went down by just 0.1. 3rd grade went up by 0.2. Our 2nd grade went up. Our 1st grade went up. Kindergarten went down a little bit, mostly due to a lot of sicknesses with our kindergarten babies, but not enough for it to start worrying us. We're still communicating with those parents. I probably only have a handful of parents that the students have hit about the 4 or 6 day mark. I haven't had to make very many conferences with the parents. I feel like we've been very proactive. Some of the things we do is we spell Garfield. Each day that the class is there for an entire day, that means no tardies, they stay the entire day and they don't check out early, they get a letter. When they spell Garfield on The first time they got a popcorn party, second time popsicles, and then the third time, and I've already had 3 classes in my building spell Garfield for a third time for attendance, and they get to choose who they get to sit by at lunch, and they're very excited about that. The good problem is I ran out of awards that my teachers have voted on, so I'm going to have to come up with some more, but that is always a good problem to have. For our kindergarten, first and second grade, our kindergarten started out at 46% on reading, went up to 58%, and then up to 69% recently in October. We are really focusing on their phonemic awareness. We had a lot of kindergarten babies come to us with a lot of phonics skills, but not a lot of phonemic awareness, and that's typically backwards. Phonemic awareness typically comes before the phonics, so we had to regroup and say, okay, we typically at this time work on phonics, but we adjusted based on our beginning of the year, and we're seeing a lot of improvements from that. Our first grade started at, on the ELA, the left side is the black. We went from 38% up to 82%. We went down slightly to 75%. We had quite a few new students start, and so we'll get them up there, I know, but that is why it went down. Same thing with math. We went from 62 to 82 and slightly down to 76 also with the new students. But even with those high scores, we also know that our first grade take the Early Star, and the Early Star actually reads to them. And in December, we will be switching to the regular star. So even though these numbers are high, we're making sure that we're focusing on those literacy first, phonics and fluency, and helping them really learn to read, because we know when we make that switch, it could see a big drop unless we have all those holes filled. So even though they're high, we're still working really hard with our first graders. Second grade, I currently only have 1 second grade teacher. It is quite a full class. It is very big. We got about, we've been ranging from about 27 to 23, back and forth a little bit. And we have enough for a class size TA in there to help. She's got her hands full. We've started at, in reading, 13%, went up to 42 and down to 35. But looking at that beginning 13%, she's really making some significant gains with them, and she's really working on building their confidence. The math consistently has been going up from 33 to 43 to 48. I really look in December to have at least half, if not more, of her class on level for the math. With third, fourth, and fifth grade, we actually kind of raised the bar. With kindergarten, first and second, we look at that 50th percentile. On third, fourth, and fifth, we look at a scaled score, and that scaled score is one that Renaissance, the STAR test, kind of compiled based on data on the state test, and they're showing that if we hit that score or get to that point, our students are passing that state test. Now, those are end results scaled scores, so like at the end of the year, that's where we want to see them. So we're using that as a benchmark. And even though these numbers are starting low, I have so many that are just about to cross that threshold, and we're just going to keep working with them. In third grade, at the bottom, you can see we started at only 3%. That was 1 student on the ELA at the beginning of the year. And actually none in math have hit that really high scaled score. And that makes me a little nervous. And we've been using this data to look at K through 2, because as you can see, our K through 2 math was very high, and then all of a sudden in third grade, it's quite low. So we're really looking at what we can do mathematically to make sure we don't see that dip in third grade. We have gone up in October. We stayed the same in reading, but we went up to 11%. We gained 2 students in the math, and then we maintained it in November. One way we're looking at this is the reading for third grade total. What it did is took all their scaled scores and averaged it, and all those little blue diamonds are the class averages. We take in third, fourth, and fifth grade the STAR test every other week. So we do math, reading. And what we look at is we look at this trend line to see how close we're getting to that scaled score on average. But my teachers look individually at each student to see their trend line to make sure that they're going to hit that proficient mark. And we've recently analyzed it, and we divided them into 4 quadrants. Basically, if they were below this green line and going down, we asked ourselves what's not working. What can we do to change this? Because obviously what we're doing right now is not working. And then we looked at if they were below and going up, but not quite getting across that threshold, what we can do more to help them, what they needed. I asked them what they needed, support from me, support from others. And then we also looked at if they were above it and going down. Typically, that's our enriched kiddos that maybe aren't getting that enriched instruction that they need. And also the ones that are in line, because it's always good to see, hey, what we're doing for these kids is working. It's where it needs to be. So this is the 3rd grade reading. That's the 3rd grade math. As you can see, we had a very strong conversation about this. Our trend line is actually going away from where it needs to go. This is 4th grade. 4th grade, we start at 16 and 5. We went to 16 and 8 and 13 and 8. Now, even though they're going down, we are catching a lot more of our kids up. So this is our 4th grade in reading, and you can see where we started and where we're going in reading. Also in math, we started a little bit higher, but the projected is to cross that line. Our 5th grade, our ELA, went from 16 to 15 to 19. Our math went from 11 to 13 to 14, so steadily climbing up or gaining a little bit. Now, the 11 to 13, the 13 to 14 typically means we added a child to the mix because that'll change the percent. This is our 5th grade reading and our trend line. You can see we have a few outliers right there about October, but this last one in November, we really got them. And this is our 5th grade math. And like I said, some of the things we're doing is making sure we're looking at the individual student and also celebrating what we're doing right. Some of the things are ST math. We're doing math seeds and reading eggs with our younger kids. We're really heavily based on the literacy first model, making sure we're getting those read alouds in. The more knowledge our kids have and the more exposure to different subjects, the better they're going to do. And so we're hoping to see those trend lines continue to grow and making sure we're looking at each kid to make sure we're giving them the best possible chance to get to proficiency. Are there any questions?
No questions.
Okay.
Good job. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Katie.
Next, Jennifer Dye is going to tell us about her new job.
Well, I was excited to be named the principal of Union, and for me it feels like I'm coming home after teaching there for 16 years. And so I'm going to start by showing you some 3rd grade trend data from our OSTP test. So I have from 2018, and 2019. So in the darker blue, that's from 17. And so you can see in reading, we were in the 31st percentile. We went up to the 32nd percentile in 18, and then we dropped to the 24th percentile last school year. In math, we started at the 50th percentile in 17, dropped to 38 in 18, and last year we were at 24%. So we have work to do, obviously, because we're on a downward trend. In 4th grade, we started in reading at the 35th, and then the last 2 years we've been in the 24th percentile. In math, we were in the 33rd in 17, the 27th in 18, and in 19, that was our only area of growth, was actually 4th grade math in the 37th percentile. In 5th grade, we started in 17 with 34%. We maintained that in 18, and then we dropped to the 26th percentile last year. In math, we started in 17 in the 45th percentile, and then we went to the 28th and dropped to the 15th, so in the teens. And in science, you still see that downward. We started in the 48th, went to the 32nd, and last year we were in the 17th percentile. So that's from, now I want you to see our current data. From the reading is in black, math is in blue. So our fall baseline data for kindergarten, we were in the 40th percentile, and we've made gains each month. We were in the 74th percentile in October and then 83rd in November. In first grade, we started in reading in the 41st, and we moved to the 75th, and then we just took, last week, we did STAR testing. So 81st, so good growth there. Again, same in math, 57th to 79 to 83. Second grade, we started for reading in the 39th percentile, and then we moved to the 49th, and we stayed there. That was our only lower one that stayed the same. In math, 44 to 49 to 59. So we're happy that we're seeing growth. Katie already talked to you about the scaled score, and I know you all know how that works. And so for third grade, reading, we started at the 15th percentile, we moved to the 24th, and then to the 29th. In math, we started at 8, moved to 9, and so I was happy to see that 29, to have some growth there between October and November. In fourth grade, we started at the 17th percentile, then went to the 21st, and then now the 26th. In math, we went from the 6th to the 8th and then to the 11th. I don't know why that's red. It should be green on the 8th. And in fifth grade, we went from 18, we went backwards to 17 and then up to 29. And then in math, 12th to 12th, and we went just up to the 13th. So showed a little bit of growth there. So when you see all that, then you have to think about, so what are you going to do about those scores? Because we got to improve for sure. So our action plan, one of the first things I did after being named principal is in the spring I surveyed my staff, the whole staff, certified and support, and just asked 3 questions. I said, you know what's going well, what do we need to improve on, and then tell me anything else you think I need to know about union coming in. And from that information, I knew we needed to work on the climate. And so I just wanted to make a good positive environment for both students and staff, and that they want to be there, and that all is through building relationships through me. And so we've done that. I also wanted to make sure that students and staff had high expectations. And so I communicate that with them on a regular basis, and that's something that's ongoing. That's not something that you just do once and drop it. On the Wildcat Way, we are all in. On the Wildcat Way, we recite the Wildcat Way every day. And then, like I said last week before we took STAR testing, I talked to them about that a lot, about working hard, giving your best effort before you take that test, and don't worry about the person next to you, but within yourself. Know where you are and work hard and compete yourself to up your score. And I said, if you don't know what your score, ask your teacher, because we're tracking that. And then I said, I will be looking to see how you did. And I had a student last spring bring me his data. He said, look, Mrs. Ty, I got better. So they're listening. So I'm happy about that. We also want to improve our attendance with the district-wide attendance policy. We're also trying to get kids to want to be at school. Our PTA has just jumped right in with that with us. And so last week on Friday, we hosted about just under 70 students who had perfect attendance, and we recognized them in the morning assembly, and then they had a little celebration. Currently, we are at 95.8% attendance. I'm having to conference a little more than Katie. I've had to talk to some parents, but we're trying to get them on board and just make them understand the difference in making sure that you're there and the importance of that. The next thing is just really to work on and focus on instructional growth with our staff. And doing that, making sure that I give really good feedback on evaluations, because if we're growing teachers, our students are going to grow. And to make sure that our district initiatives are in place and being done to fidelity. Those weren't as tight maybe as I was hoping they would be when I came in, because there's things that have been going on for a long time within our district. And so on my end, that's just making sure that teachers are accountable. So what gets monitored gets done. So I'm monitoring that. My instructional coach, if she's not in classrooms teaching lessons, she also goes and makes sure, you know, people are doing what they're supposed to do when they're doing it. And it's not to micromanage, it's just to make sure that people are doing what we need to do. Another focus we've looked at is academic vocabulary. Used to, that was one of our district initiative, building academic vocabulary. And we haven't done that as a district, but we've talked a lot with our staff about the importance of teaching academic vocabulary, because kids have to know what those key words are and know what they're learning. And so we have, you know, given them examples, you know, when you're starting a new unit, to really preview those words, talk about what they mean, put them up on the wall, and then when you have a few minutes before you're going to lunch, review those important words, because kids know those. At this point at Union, that's not a must. It's highly recommended, but next year that may be a must for us. Skills versus knowledge. Terry did with all the principals, she had us do a little activity that really hit home with me, and my staff's going to do this on Wednesday, actually, but she gave us an article on cricket to read, and then had us turn it over and ask us to answer some questions, and I couldn't answer anything because I knew nothing about cricket. And I have lots of good skills as a reader, but I couldn't answer those questions because I am not knowledgeable at all about cricket. And so, you know, when you think about that with kids, we do a great job teaching skills. We've got, you know, we use our curriculum maps and we teach skills, but there are kids, especially low-income kids, that really are not knowledgeable about lots of things, and then I think that affects their comprehension because you don't know. And so for, you know, one of the things we're going to start really talking about is if you're doing a unit on baseball, for example, we can't make an assumption that every kid in the room knows about that. And so we've got to bring stuff to them. You know, borrow a catcher's mitt and from our PE teacher if you need to, but bring stuff in to make it real and for kids, because I think that we're missing the boat a little bit there on kids just not having the vocabulary and experiences they need. And all of that really with district initiatives and academic vocabulary and bringing in that knowledge just really comes down to having teachers do really good in intentional planning. So, do you have any questions?
Yeah, from your first couple of charts, looks like your third and your fifth grade's definitely going in the wrong direction over the last 3 years. And this may be more of a question for Shelley or Terry. Have you had a lot of turnover in your staff and your third and fifth grade teachers in the previous 3 years?
Not a lot really. No, we've made some. We have had a little bit of turnover in third, fourth, and fifth, and we've had some grade level switches too. But that did we also had we had a teacher out with illness in third grade last year.
Has it stabilized now?
Well, we have a new second grade teacher. I have a brand new fourth grade teacher, and then I had some movement between fourth and fifth.
Yeah, because those two were definitely going the wrong direction over the last 3 years.
What do you think you'll be at the end of the school, at the end of this semester after Christmas and stuff? You think those kids will be in the 30s in math especially?
Well, I would hope. I mean, we're growing. I mean, my data is showing that we're growing, and we're going the right direction this school year. So, I mean, that's our goal, obviously. But we are definitely. Our data has shown that we're growing.
Flip back. You saw that it was going.
I mean, if flip back, but you can. But we're going in the right direction.
Data will
I
show
like
it.
the vocabulary.
Yeah.
That's good. I do like
Good,
it a
thank
lot.
you.
And the knowledge, that's good. That's good.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you, babe.
Good job, Jennifer.
See what we got next. Consent agenda, which
The annual safety report.
Annual safety report, Brett.
we got to hear from Brett first. That's right, the third of the three.
So Robin told me this was his favorite presentation of the year.
The whole year. It's one for this one.
Oh, bye, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Hey, lady. Okay.
So by law, we have to let you all know that we have a safety plan and that it's working, and trying to give everybody, even the folks at home, a little idea of what we actually have been doing. And really over the last several years, we have done a ton in the district. Security entrances and lobby guards. You know, we're still doing those. We're still updating. The lobby guards, they've kind of updated themselves. We went from Pitney Bowes lease to purchasing these lobby guards from Lobby Guard now, so we own them and we control them. So that's getting better for us, and it's not near as expensive. Our camera systems, of course, when we started out with those many years ago, it was just security for the buildings, so they were only at the entrances. Now we use them everywhere because kids are smart. They hide, they do things back in the corners. So yeah, that's not just for security anymore, but they're also for discipline measures. But that in itself is a safety issue. So there's nothing at all wrong with that. SROs, of course, for a lot of years, barriers and corridors, like going from the Howe to the Fine Arts, Roosevelt Elementary with their corridor, and then ALICE, instructor training. That is a new program that you all are familiar with that we've incorporated. So every employee has taken some ALICE training online. We also are teaching the kids. The principals have the curriculum, and they've given them to the teachers. I even got a sample of a book that is used as supplemental for our K through 3s. These just came in, and so the teachers are going to start using these to help supplement their lesson plans that Alice has given us. So we do have a curriculum for that. Progress, of course, are safety entrances through all of our buildings. Washington Pre-K, we finally got that one done this summer, and of course the high school got upgraded. The administration center's got one, but over at our current registration center, there's not a secure entrance there. There's no students there, but at some point, whether we keep that building or not, we may want to think about that one, but that's just out there. What else we've done? We've done lots of drills. The state helps us with that. They keep adding more and modifying what we've got, but we do a bunch of it, and we do a lot of training. And it takes a lot of collaboration with different agencies. We've got sprinkler systems. They keep getting upgraded. Knox boxes, if you're not familiar with those are boxes that are secured on the outside of the buildings. They have a key in those boxes that will allow our fire and well, it really doesn't allow the PD in, but it allows our fire folks into the building. There's a key to the building. That way they don't have to bust through doors and windows to get in. They required us to do that several years ago. Procedures, flip charts, manuals, controlled access, it's all stuff that we do, and it morphs and it changes and we add to it. And of course at the bottom of there was a safety committee. Every school has a safety committee. So they utilize those to do their own assessments in their buildings and then give me suggestions, and then of course we take those back to you if we've got anything that we want to add at a later date or a bond issue. New technology and new ideas, everything that we do involves safety, even suicide prevention. We've got apps that everybody in the country has. There's two of them that we're looking at. One's called Rave, and there's another one that's called Stop It. They're both free. One is supplied by the State Department of Education. That's Rave. That is for employees only. That way, if there is an emergency of some sort, an active shooter, they can go on their phone and activate that app, and it contacts people, not to mention just the police. Stop It is another one, but that one's like for bullying prevention for students. So we're looking at those to see if or we need both of those or just one of those. And then, of course, a panic button is also something that a lot of companies have out there, that you can incorporate a panic button either with physically inside a building, or you can use it as an app and it automatically locks doors. That's an expensive ordeal, but a lot of folks are actually doing that in other districts. Some attention areas, timelines and challenges. Of course, money is always an issue. Everything costs, and if it's a big buzzword, the companies are out there and they're charging a pretty penny because it's so popular. Factors of completion and implementation, those are always challenges, whether it's during the summertime or in the middle of the school year. Issues that some of them can cause delays or it can impede progress, and some problems just may not be anticipated. Something happens of a national level, and then the law comes down and we have to start doing things a different way. We have a safety plan. Every school has a copy of it. All of these things are in it. It's just a guide because there's nothing out there that's in stone. You can't, even an earthquake doesn't happen the same way twice. But they're good samples of what to do and how to get started, and then things just move in a different direction as needed. Schedule. Timeline for success. It's ongoing and never ending. We're always changing. We're always looking for better ideas, and we get a lot of help in that respect. We're committed to the community and our parents for the safety of our students and staff. If they don't feel safe, they're not going to learn. Effective communication. With Facebook and multimedia, we don't have a problem with communication. We can get it out there pretty fast. Costs. Of course, those manuals that we use, the teachers and staff will have those hanging on their walls or in their closets or whatever's handy for them. I say closets because the custodians also have it. They're printed every 2 or 3 years. They're expensive. They can be updated by a pen or a pencil, and then we print new ones and try to change the color. Construction cost. I got this from about 2 years ago that they increase about 4% or more each year, and I think that's doubled. So that also helps us, it prohibits us sometimes from doing things we would like to because of cost, but that's just for information. New technology increases cost, infrastructure or reoccurring costs, bond issue passage and associated costs for the plans and development are just those other things, training and state mandate requirements. Resources, of course, bond issues, building funds, state-provided training, grants, collaborative agreements, all those things that help us get some of these things accomplished. Come on, there we go. Our goals, update the plan annually or as needed, whenever it's needed. Could be even monthly. Annual updates and reports to the board. We're required by law to give you this update. Report new advances in technology in regards to safety or best practices, panic buttons, apps, those kinds of things too. Secure and plan the best possible course of action for our students and staff. Any questions? There's lots of stuff to this, but that's about as fast as I can get it done. Thank you.
Good job.
That's good.
Thanks, Brett.
Lock those doors.
Now we'll go to the consent agenda, which includes tonight's agenda, the minutes from last month's meeting, contracts and agreements under 10,000. We looked at those, talked about most of them in the finance meeting. There was...
All of them, didn't
we? We did. Not much of anything. We've got some trees we have to trim up at Grand and 8th. That's directly west of what used to be the Art Center. Those trees running out over Grand Avenue now. We got to take a dead one out and trim some others up. They're almost a safety hazard there on the street. We've got a contract with A+ to do that. There were a couple staff development software packages, Great Expectations at Roosevelt. Finance Department wanted renewal of a software for the webinars that they attend. Some student learning software, couple career tech software updates. Algebra 2 we'd already paid for, but it was the second year of a 3-year arrangement. We are moving unique curriculum. Been used at East and West previously. Now we're taking it to the high school this year. It was $2,300. There was a white box, which is some STEM software, which is 7th grade introduction to engineering. A couple things we had to do to get our payments in sync with the school year. One was Power School. A couple things looked like they were pretty big price increases, but it was actually paying for a year and a half. Power School was one of them. We had to get a crane over at Lincoln for some HVAC units and some special ed software to get them in sync. And I think that's just about covered all those. So with that, unless there's any question on any of those, I'd look for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So move.
Motion from Don and a second from
Second.
Judy. Comments or questions? Call for the vote.
Mrs. Zimmershed?
Aye.
Mrs. Troop?
Aye.
Mr. Riley?
Aye.
Mr. Newsom?
Aye.
Dr. Kincaid?
Motion carries. Item 6, action items. Again, Finance Committee, we talked about the general normal encumbrances for the general fund, the building fund, child nutrition, the bond issues, gifts and endowments. We had 4 change orders. We always like change orders because change orders usually bring us money back. In this case, the largest was about a $30,000 one we got for the Howell Auditorium from the general contractors there. And I think Brett's already got plans on how to spend that $30,000 back into the Howell Auditorium.
That's right.
For some things for the new theater group that being formed up there. We did the budget analysis reports, bond issues. We had 1 booster club fundraiser and about a dozen or so activity fund requests. We talked about the treasurer's reports, and the final item is the ratification and approval of payrolls that Curtis is always interested in to make sure everybody gets paid. Anybody have any questions or comments?
Motion to approve.
Then we've got a motion to approve, and we need a second
I second it.
from Nancy. Comments, questions? Call for the vote.
Mrs. Zimmershed?
Aye.
Mr. Newsom?
Aye.
Dr. Kincaid?
Aye.
Mrs. Troop? Mr. Riley?
Aye. So item 6 in its entirety was approved. Okay, number 2, that was item 1, A through L was approved. Item 2, consider and take action on board policies regarding student behavior and new policies, testing regarding the use of alcohol and illegal chemicals. If you remember, we tabled 2 policies last month. We've discussed them in a little more detail. We've had a couple minor wording changes. Everyone was in agreement with them now. So with that said, unless there's questions, I'd look for a motion to approve both of the policies that were tabled last month, which is item 2 under 6.
I move.
Have a motion from
Second.
David.
Just a moment, please.
Second.
David?
Yes.
And Mr. Newsom?
Don with a second. Call for the vote.
Dr. Kincaid?
Aye.
Mr. Newsom?
Aye.
Mr. Riley?
Aye.
Mrs. Troop? Mrs. Zimmershed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 3, consider and take action on setting the date, time, and location for the 2020 board meetings. This is a requirement by law, and they were in everyone's handouts when the meetings are for next
Motion to
year.
approve.
Have a motion from Don,
Second.
second from Judy. Call for the vote.
Mrs. Zimmershed?
Aye.
Mrs. Troop?
Aye.
Dr. Kincaid?
Aye.
Mr. Riley?
Aye.
Mr. Newsom?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 4, A is an agreement with Pinnacle for maintenance on the wireless equipment. All we're doing there, if I understand it right, Ryan, is to about a year and a half's worth of payment to put it in sync with the standard school policy or school year.
Fiscal year.
B is an agreement with AMN Healthcare for a licensed physical therapist. This is a job that's been posted for several years. We can't seem to find one, so we're having to go outside on it. So unless someone's got a comment or a question, I'd look for a motion to approve items 4A and 4B.
Motion to approve.
Motion from Nancy and a second from
Aye.
David. Call for the vote.
Dr. Kincaid?
Aye.
Mr. Newsom?
Aye.
Mr. Riley?
Aye.
Mrs. Troop?
Aye.
Mrs. Zimmershed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 5, consider and take action on a change order number 2 for the Washington remodel. We needed a fire alarm. We didn't need a fire alarm. We needed a fire alarm. We didn't need a fire alarm. The latest is we don't need a fire alarm, and we're going to get $4,000 back.
Motion to approve it.
So let's approve it real quick before they say we do need a fire alarm.
Don's all over it. I'll second it.
Okay.
Second from Nancy. Call for the vote.
Mr. Riley?
Aye.
Mrs. Zimmershed?
Aye.
Mr. Newsom?
Aye.
Mrs. Troop?
Aye.
Dr. Kincaid?
Motion carries. Item 6, we need an executive session.
We
Don't
do.
Motion and vote to convene an executive session for the following purposes: to discuss the possible termination, reassignment, resignation, and employment of personnel on the attached list, to discuss the purchase of appraisal of real property, and to discuss confidential conversations with the board attorneys concerning pending claims and litigations. Have a motion to move, have a motion from Don. Second from Judy. Call for the vote.
Get in.
Mrs. Troop? Aye. Mr. Newsom?
Aye.
Mrs. Zimmershed?
Aye.
Mr. Riley?
Aye.
Dr. Kincaid?
Aye.
We're in executive session. Recital by the board president that minutes of executive sessions were kept by the board's minute clerk and will remain confidential. Consider and take action for the termination, reassignment, resignation, and employment of personnel. Do I have a motion?
Yes.
Motion from Don, second from Judy. Call for the vote.
Mr. Riley?
Aye.
Dr. Kincaid? Mrs. Zimmershed?
Aye.
Mr. Newsom? Aye. Mrs. Troop?
Aye.
Motion carries. Any new business, Shelley?
No new business.
Need a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
You did?
David, second from Judy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.